I've received some questions about how do I break a fast, especially when I have an OMAD day, 1 meal a day. I've been thinking about intermittent fasting in general and how do you make a good plan, a strategy that you can have as one of your major superpowers to be able to lose extra fat off of the belly, but in general, even if you're just trying to lose 10, 15 pounds, 20 pounds, we all can have a good strategy without feeling like you're restricting everything that you put in your mouth. How do we have a good plan? First, I would say is write it down, because if you have a plan that is written, then it will make you accountable to the plan, right? For me, I started out intermittent fasting at least 7 or 8 years ago, and I used to write it down every day, my weight, all the foods I ate when I broke the fast, and then I also wrote down how many hours that I actually fast. These are things that it made me accountable to myself so I can see it in writing and see what I might be doing incorrect to troubleshoot. We understand that our weight is going to fluctuate because it's not just fat alone. It can be just water weight. There's a lot of things that come into play. You know the fluctuations will happen whether you're perimenopausal or menopausal. Of course, the hormones plays a big factor there. But if you understand that and you wrote down what's happening every day, then it will help you to adjust your plan as you move forward. Not major changes, but just a little bit of tweaking here or there. Number 2 is really part of number 1, is to commit to the written plan. Yes, we can write things down, but if you put it away in your drawer, then forget it, right? I had it on my phone, and so I put it in my notes app, and that app really helped with changing some things up and seeing it, because I would open it up every morning because I weighed myself first thing in the morning and then went for my walk. So I even added in my exercise too. So that just gave me a way of looking at the things in the past, but also looking going forward to how much I'm committed and how much I actually see the results on paper. Number 3 is be realistic about your rules that you place for yourself. Again, not restricting yourself to a point where it's just no fun. This should be fun. It should be something that you really want to add as part of your lifestyle. And then question the things in your lifestyle that are deal breakers for the actual plan that you place. For instance, I know that I need to eat whole foods, right? But I want a balanced type of diet. I don't want it to feel like I'm always dieting. For junk food or anything like that, yes, I do eat some chocolate. I do eat sweets. I have a sweet tooth. So that goes back to my 80-20 rule. Maybe I do this 20% of the time in my week, but I allow for it because it'll keep me consistent and on track. Is this a lifestyle that you must eat first thing when you wake up? I'm not that person, but I do eat breakfast, but it tends to be late. Again, be realistic in your lifestyle. You can adjust for times. That's the beautiful thing about intermittent fasting, is that it's flexible and you can set it up that is going to work for you in your time frame and when you want to sit down to eat. You don't have to do it the way I do it because that may not work for you. So what are your rules? Did you ask yourself, what are the things that you'll tolerate, but what are the things that are just easy for you to keep on paper and be consistent? For me, it's really about 3 hours before going to bed. I want to make sure that I've closed my eating window. I don't want to have food on my stomach when I go to bed. So I try to make sure that I have my dinner early enough. I'm giving myself those 3 hours to digest it properly. So ask yourself, what are some rules that you might set for yourself that will keep you on track? Next step is, what are you going to eat when you open up your eating window? And as you can hear in the background is cooking and we're having turkey patties. So for me, it's getting that protein in and getting good vegetables. And even if it's starchy vegetables, that's okay too, because I know that I'm only having one meal today and I want to make sure it's a good one and that I have the extras to really get the nourishment that my body requires. Yes, a little bit of preparation, but not a lot. Not enough to have to be obsessed about what you're eating all day. This should be simple and easy, just things to put together that are just whole foods in general. And with one meal a day, that's all you need to think about, is having that prepared a little bit in your mind, or maybe just taking out some meat like you can see here because we did the turkey patties. But all of that was impromptu and just finding vegetables in my refrigerator and throwing it together. The other thing that I believe will keep you successful is breaking it up throughout the week, not becoming complacent with the same schedule. Like, I know I'm going to eat OMAD, but I'm not going to eat until 3 o'clock every day. If you're someone who's eating OMAD through the whole week, I believe that if you break it up, it will help you not only feel better about what you're doing, but also you would be able to be active and participate with your family when they eat. So be flexible to move around things. Maybe you need to eat 2 or 3 meals when your window opens up instead of just OMAD. If that's one of those days, then you already understand that ahead of time because you're already planning your week out. The other thing I would say is to pick out some exercises or some type of movements that you enjoy. You don't have to have a hardcore regimen. Sometimes I do with my weightlifting, but I actually enjoy it. I had to really look at my schedule and what's working for me and how my body's reacting. So basically listening to your body. Are you overdoing it? Remember, we talked about rest and recovery. You should have those rest days in place. For me, is 3 days a week I dedicate to weightlifting, and then 2 days a week I might have some type of other movement like Pilates or lymphatic drainage type of exercises. Pick the type of exercise that you really enjoy and pick movement that makes sense for you. I like to do my hardcore 3 times a week type of weightlifting. That makes me feel good because it really gets the stress off my back and really makes me feel, you know, like I can conquer the world that day. I know that I have to think about my intermittent fasting schedule, that normally on my heavy workout days, I probably wouldn't do OMAD. For me is I think I need a couple of meals because I might have a pre-workout meal and then a post-workout meal. So that makes sense for me. But I enjoy the movement. And the other days I'm doing like a lighter type of exercise such as Pilates or lymphatic drainage type of movements, and an exercise strategy that I already have in place. Do I have a full plan, intermittent fasting, on top of the exercise and the rest? Because that's where you are burning the fat, is while you rest. So maybe it's just rebounding, or for you, maybe it's just walking, right? Walking is great. Bottom line is, these are another additional rule, right, of choosing an exercise that you enjoy and maybe mixing it up and doing different things every day. Whatever makes sense for you. It's just about continuously moving instead of just sitting at our desks all day. Next, I would just implement the actual plan and some form of tracking it. And I'm not saying you need to track your calories. That's up to you. But if you're doing a true intermittent fasting type of strategy and your window is small enough where you're eating automatically less, the tracking will handle itself. But what I mean about tracking is maybe it's just tracking about, I know I want to drink a certain amount of water, so at least 70 to 80 ounces. So I track that because that is a great reminder to myself to continue to drink water throughout the day. And additional to that is troubleshooting. There will be times that you need to troubleshoot things. Maybe it's not working in the way you thought it would. You also want to make sure that you're realistic about the goals you're trying to hit. Maybe it's just something like you want to lose a pound or two per week, which is very doable and it's realistic. Are you asking yourself, are you being mindful? I mean, the mindset is a big deal, because if you expect yourself to lose 5-10 pounds in 1 week, then may not be so realistic. And maybe you need to do some deep soul searching about what your body will be able to do, and do it sustainably, and that you can be consistent. You don't want to set yourself up for failure. So these are ways of troubleshooting. Maybe I need to take some time and just journal and write down some things that are bothering me, or some things that I'm just not being realistic about. Ask yourself the question, do I need more freedom than the restrictions that I've set up for my guidelines, right? I had to tell myself I like chocolate. If I want it every day, I'll have that. But I'm telling myself that I get to choose these things instead of you cannot have the sweet. Because I've done that before, and that just doesn't work, because I end up binging on it and getting my hands on it some way, and then I become a savage. Are you restricting yourself to the point that you no longer can sustain your lifestyle as an intermittent faster? That's a question I would ask. The last thing I would suggest is to have some type of an objective review, say once a month. Maybe in 30 days, I'm going to now look back and see how it's working. Am I getting the results that I expect to get? And is it something that I can move forward with later? That is a form of troubleshooting, but it's really just a review in summary, and also having some gratitude about how far you come and all the things that you're doing for yourself. The bottom line is to obtain the good health. And about the food, I'm eating the turkey patty with some wild rice and some extra vegetables that I would add to that, usually zucchini or something like that. I also would put on the coconut aminos for extra flavor and a nice kick. But I know that I'm getting a lot of protein and I'm getting enough fats in it, on top of the good vegetables for those vitamins and minerals that I require. And then I will have a snack or dessert of some sort afterwards. And that is basically my OMAD meal. You can do it so many ways. Maybe I do breakfast for dinner next time. See, this is the fun of it, of having one meal a day. In this case, just be able to be flexible and choose the things that you delight in and you enjoy, and eat it plentiful. I know people have asked, how do you hit your protein goals? Again, I'm not giving myself that rule when I do one meal a day. When it's OMAD, just enjoy the foods that fill you up, feed your hormones, right? Good fats, good protein, and vegetables. How can you go wrong? Oh, of course, that includes the fiber too. So what's your favorite type of intermittent fasting schedule? Are you working on something different than what I just mentioned, like OMAD? Maybe you're eating 2 MAD or 3 MAD, but you're putting it in a 5-hour or 6-hour eating window, and you're fasting for 18 hours a day. There's so many ways that this can go. It's so exciting to me, and it actually renewed or restored my excitement for doing intermittent fasting again. It's just about tightening up the schedule. I'm thinking maybe just try this really, really clean and see how that goes in the next 30 days. I'll keep you posted, but I'd love to hear how it's going for you and what are the strategies that you're using to really accommodate you and to be able to reach your goals. Thanks for watching, guys, and look forward to seeing you on the next video. And always remember, you can begin again. Cheers.